Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to help change the world one starfish or one person at a time. As always, guys, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share, all the things. Really appreciate all the support and you guys sharing. I'm excited for our guest today. We just met. Everett is in California. He's a founder of Ignite Press, which he started in 2013. Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author, family guy, church guy, all the good things, doing all the things. I'm excited to have you on our show.
Angela, thank you so much. And I hope everything is great in Alberta. This time of year, it's got to be gorgeous.
It's getting warmer. We'll take it, which is awesome. So tell us a little bit about what got you into writing books, what got you into starting your press, like what do you see about books in general, I guess?
Yeah, so good friend and my young life leader in high school, we got together and became business partners in 2006, 2007, and started a marketing company called The Solution Machine. And the idea there was you have a problem, we have a solution. And we did a bunch of unorthodox marketing things and loved doing it. And in 2013, we decided that we would just create a book as a proof of concept as a marketing tool for a business. And we said, and we just guinea pig ourselves because that's what we do. We guinea pig ourselves. So we sat down and we wrote a book called The Video Attractor Meme. And it was all about attracting clients through online video. Again, this was really just a proof of concept. We expected nothing out of it. But I have to say, when we first published it, when I saw my name on Amazon, on the largest, selling website in the world, it was kind of wild. It was like, wait a minute, what? And then as the book started selling, we did an Amazon bestseller launch to attempt to become an Amazon bestseller. And I saw my book there with Malcolm Gladwell and John Maxwell and a bunch of people that I really revered. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And later on in the launch, suddenly we're above all of those people and number one in our categories. And it blew my mind, quite honestly, that we would ever be part of a book that was sitting there number one, beating all these giants. And that was the beginning. That was transformative, to say the least. It was shocking in the sense that it wasn't a great book because I had edited it. I had laid it out. Both mistakes, by the way. Don't ever edit or lay out your own book. And yet it brought us our first 5-digit clients. It put us on the map. It got us exposure and entrance to networks and to people we would have never met. And that's when it clicked. That's when it was, we should be doing this for our clients. And that started Ignite Press. And here we are now. We've published 150 Amazon best-selling books for our clients. And just love working with business professionals, speakers, coaches, consultants, anyone who has a message they want to share to the world in a way that will galvanize their business.
Awesome. So going back to writing your book, what were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome and how did you overcome them in writing a book? Because writing a book is not the easiest thing in the world. So,
yes. Yeah, it's some clients talk about it like, having a baby, and going through the labor pains and all of that. I can't personally attest to that, parallel, but having watched my wife go through it, I understand a little bit, just a little. So we sidestepped all the challenges, and that was pivotal for us because when it comes time to write a book, you can go at it a lot of different ways, and the stereotype is that you need to get yourself a cabin on Walden Pond and sit there for 6 months in isolation, become a hermit while you write your masterpiece. And that's one way to write a book. There are a lot of ways to write a book. What we did is we just sat down and we said, what are the frequently asked questions about video marketing, about what we were doing. And so we wrote down those questions and we dropped a microphone on the conference table and we just started dictating the answers to those questions. And this is a fantastic method for someone to write a nonfiction business book about their industry. Because no matter what industry you're in, if you just sat down and just literally, you could spend 3 minutes writing out just stream of consciousness, a list of questions that people ask you about your business. And you already have the answers to those questions in your head. They are there. You deliver them to your clients and prospects on a daily basis, probably. And you just need to get them out of your head and into a document where someone else can help you with that. So that's what we did. And that model is called the FAQ SAQ model. FAQ being the frequently asked questions, and SAQ being the questions people should have asked. Like if they knew more about the topic, these are the questions that they would ask. Easiest example, you go buy a car, right? One of the questions that, people ask, what is the payment, right? What's this car? What's the payment going to be for this car? That's the frequently asked question. The should have asked question is, what's this car actually going to cost me over the lifetime of these payments, and maintenance and fuel and insurance and like that? Like, what's this really going to cost me? Not just what is the monthly hit. And these are the types of, if you can just list out the frequently asked questions for your industry, you can very quickly put together the skeleton of a book and turn a perhaps years-long process into a month-long process if you want to, or shorter even. So that's how we chose to go about that book. My subsequent books I wrote in different ways. Subsequent books I wrote a little bit more organically, and it did take longer.
Okay. What did you do before you wrote books?
So, okay, my undergrad work was in English literature and composition and creative writing. And I thought I was going to teach.
Okay.
That was the plan. And then I got sucked into the business world. I had an English internship in a medical office of all places, and it took me down a completely different career path. I became a vocational rehab counselor. I had a staff of 8-10 people. Fully immersed in business. And the whole thing of me coming back to doing books is just hilarious. I never thought I would be a publisher. And if you told me when I was 21, hey, you're going to be a best-selling author and a publisher of 150 best-selling books, you'd be like, no, that can't be. That can't be. And but I'm so glad I did, because now I get to help other people bring their messages to the world. It's like, it is such a privilege, Angela.
That's cool. So if someone's wanting to get into writing books, what's kind of the first step that you would suggest for someone to get into that? Get into that.
Yeah, I think first it's having some clarity over how you would use a book. Because if you're going to write a book and the goal of the book is, hey, I want to make that book a separate income stream, I want to sell a bunch of books, get royalties, etc., that's the least predictable outcome of becoming an author. But if you're going to create a nonfiction book to support your business or brand, to give you authority, to give you expert status in your field, to put you above the competition of your, with your peers, then those are predictable outcomes when it comes to authorship, because a book can benefit you and your business in about 20 different ways. And to put it to place in your brand can be a huge lever. It's a force multiplier in your business or brand. And that's why our clients come to us. They're like, we need a book. We know that it'll help our business. Now, so once you know how you're going to leverage the book, once you know that it's about authority, it's about expert status and exposure, then that makes the process much easier. Now it's like, okay, what topics can we write our book around? How are we going to use it? Are we going to use it to bring new clients in? Are we going to use it to create better clients? Are we going to use it to educate our existing clients? That makes it much easier. And then it's really a matter of outlining. It's outlining what you know that adds to that goal, or employing others. Getting the aid of a book coach or a ghostwriter. And there are places for those, and definitely.
Did you use a ghostwriter at all? Or how exactly do they work?
Yeah, so that is kind of mysterious for a lot of people, right?
Yeah,
Because even just the name, it's creepy, right?
it's
Ghost.
ghosty.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing is they call each other ghosts, many of them. So ghostwriting, each ghostwriter has their own technique. And so whenever we refer to ghostwriters, we'll usually refer someone to two or three different ghostwriters. And very often, what they're going to do is interview the author in depth. Talk about what are we going to do with this book? What do what are your goals with it? And start pulling your story out. And then they'll very often write a sample chapter. So you get an idea of what's going to come from this and where this is going to go. And as you know, Angela, ghostwriters are very broadly employed for all the big names that you see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna guess. I don't know this for sure that Barack and Michelle Obama probably didn't take time out of their busy schedules to write the several books that have been published. And so a lot of big names employ ghostwriters,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of smaller names employ ghostwriters too.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, a lot of us want to be authors. We don't necessarily want to be writers, if that makes
Right.
any sense. A
Totally.
lot of us would love to have a book, but we don't necessarily have the gifts to write a good or great one.
Cool. That's awesome. And so is that something that you guys do at Ignite then? You help kind of refer to ghostwriters and to help business coach, like book coaches, I think you said, or something like that. Is that kind of beyond just publishing? Like what all does Ignite actually do?
Yeah, we try to draw really bright lines around what we do. We're a publisher, and so if someone comes to us and they just have an idea for a book, or they've just begun a manuscript, what we'll do typically is refer them to a book coach or to a ghostwriter. And more often it's a book coach. More often the person wants to be directly, very directly involved in writing their book, but they need some help. They need some direction and some accountability to take this big nebulous process, right? This thing that looks like a mountain, and break it into smaller chunks to make it something that is navigable. And so book coaches are a phenomenal use in that environment. And so it's really our joy to connect authors to the appropriate book coach or to a ghostwriter. And then other people come to us and they've got a manuscript. It's done or very nearly done. And maybe they just need uh, some content review or developmental edit. We can help with that. And then we carry them the rest of the way with the copy editing, the layout, the cover design, and the Amazon bestseller launch. And Angela, we do this differently than most people, and it's good for people to know there's different avenues. Everyone thinks there's traditional publishing and self-publishing, but there's a third, and that's a hybrid publishing, and it's right in the middle. It embraces really the best of both worlds. Traditional publishing is hard. It's super hard to get into, and you sacrifice so much. You sell your content. You don't have control of how you use your content in the future. You get paid too little for selling your books, and you pay too much to buy your own book. And it can take 2 to 3 years for your book to come out. Self-publishing is amazing because you have complete creative control, but you also have to do everything. And if you do any one thing wrong, it can be a real disappointment. So in hybrid, we embrace the best of both worlds. We do the project management, the editing, layout, everything. But we also set everything up in accounts that people own so that all royalties flow to them. They get their books at cost. They have complete creative control and ownership of their IP. And for anyone that's in the business world or speaking or consulting, owning their own IP is absolutely critical. So it's good for people to know that there are different ways to do this, just like there are different ways to write a book.
That's awesome. So what is your goal for the next 5 to 10 years with your company?
I, I'd like to grow it a little, but not a lot, because I like the fact that we are one-on-one, hands-on. We're not a big behemoth. And that means that I get to know every one of our clients very well, spend a lot of hours with every one of our clients. But it would be good for us to be serving a few more people and growing the team, just because it's fun to bless more people and be a conduit to help, to help more people get their messages out.
Good. So on the days you don't feel like getting up in the morning and working, what do you do to motivate yourself? Getting off kind of the business side, let's get in the personal side. What do you do on the days you don't feel like working to motivate yourself to do the work?
That's good, Angela, because, I think everybody assumes, I don't know, I think most employees assume that the business owner is just automatically motivated and wants to go to work every day.
Every day.
And there are definitely times where I don't want to go to work. But I'll tell you what motivates me. My employees motivate me, because I know they're there. Like, literally, okay, I own my own business. I have the freedom to work
Yeah.
technically whenever and wherever I want. Okay.
Hmm.
You know how this goes. But I also know that if I choose to work someplace else or don't work, right, that comes at a potential cost. But knowing that my team is hard at work makes me go, you know what? I need to be hard at work too. I need to be there. And then of course, it always helps to put food on the table, and help provide for my family. That is a less stress. That is a smaller stress factor than it was when all our kids were
Started.
here at the house, and when we were starting up the business and worrying about, it was like, okay, I know my employees are going to get paid, but when am I going to get paid? Those types of things. Fortunately, we're not in that zone anymore, and I don't have that waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning every morning to freak out about those things. Uh,
That's a good thing. So
yeah, it
when you
is.
started your business, did you have a lot of support from family and friends, or did you have people that thought you were kind of crazy?
Wow. I'm going to say, Angela, I've been an entrepreneur long enough that I think people were just like,
Well, it
I
smells.
and honestly, when we first started it, yeah, it's so funny. My wife would, like, the entrepreneurial ADD, where you're like, okay, I've got this business and I've got this business and I've got this business, and for a number of years had several different businesses, all doing different things. Even one of them where I would do medieval history assemblies at junior high schools. I would put on like, in my office, I have a suit of armor, and I would take that to schools, and I made a business out of that too. Okay. So we were doing video marketing and text message marketing and book publishing, and I was going off to these schools, and I was still, by the way, being an expert witness in disability hearings from my prior career. And my people would ask my wife, "What do you do? What's your husband do?" And she couldn't answer the question. She was like, "I." So no, I think they just got so used to me being an entrepreneur that it was like, "Oh, you guys are publishing books now? Like, that's great. That's super exciting," especially when they started seeing the Amazon bestsellers come out as a result of it. So I am fortunate. I had lots of support and not a bunch of crazy eye going after me.
That is good. What are some things that you do to grow yourself to become a better leader in your organization?
Well, and that's hard, because you can imagine how many manuscripts that we have that come our way. But I do try to, read some nonfiction books that aren't our clients throughout the year. And lately, I've been trying to read the Bible more, which is important. And I mastermind quite a bit.
Hmm.
I meet with other like-minded people. that are, in the in the publishing business and in related industries, so that we can sharpen each other. And that's something I can't recommend that to, highly enough to people. Being in a mastermind is such a powerful thing.
Can you touch on that a little bit more, associations and the power of associations? Because I think that that's something that a lot of people, I don't know, struggle with or whatever you want to call it. And they come in and they're like, they're still hanging out with their old friends and their old, whatever people that are on different tracks and different trajectories. And
Right.
associations are important. Why don't you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, it goes back to what Jim Rohn said, right? That you're the sum of the five people that you spend the most time with, and you know I think that elevating your game means also elevating the people that you network with. And if that means spending money to do it, you need to spend money to do it. But in this time when so many people are working in a remote fashion or a hybrid fashion, it's really more critical than ever. So I believe that everybody needs to get involved in not just a networking group, because networking is fine, okay, but in a group of people where you can really share openly your business struggles, and your business successes, where you can help other people and be helped by them. When back in 2013, basically when we started this business, we also started this mastermind group where we started doing retreats in Yosemite and Carmel and Dominican Republic and Victoria. And that has been pivotal because we have become a family and we all have each other's back. And when we hit challenges, when people are there, and when bright shiny objects come up and we go, ooh, that looks cool, let's do that. Someone else can go, oh, I already did that. That doesn't work. Or they can go, oh, yeah, that works, but you need to do this. Um, Someone's already gone there before us, usually, and it's so powerful. And we just can't do it alone. You can't do life alone. And I'm convinced you cannot do business alone. And if you are an entrepreneur, if you are the CEO of a company, sadly, there's nobody in your company that you can be completely, that it's just very, very difficult to develop the relationship you need to develop and get the feedback, the unfiltered, candid feedback that you need to run your business with someone else in your business. They can only help you so much. You need to be involved with other entrepreneurs, other CEOs, if that's where you're running, to be highly successful. And if that means you create that group, create that group. Like, and I'm just like, you just got to have it.
There you go, guys. Got to have it. Awesome. Well, in wrapping up, I always ask three final questions and then anything that we didn't touch on that you think would be really impactful for our listeners. And guys, we'll have all the information for Everett in the show notes. So if you're wanting to publish a book or you're thinking about any of that stuff, definitely reach out. This is the guy that can help you or put you in the right direction or all that kind of stuff. First and final question is, if someone is looking for their purpose, what is one sentence you would say that could help them find it?
Wow, no one's ever asked that on a podcast, Angela, and I've been on a lot of podcasts. Someone's trying to find their purpose. What is the
Yeah, what's a sentence that could help them find their
I
purpose?
think you've got to go to what do you believe in your core?
Mm.
If you believe that if you're a person of faith, you're going to find it there. If you're not a person of faith, I don't know where you find it. Maybe you find it in the people that you help support or in the people that you love and care for. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'm gonna go to the Bible to find my purpose.
Cool. I like that. Second question, what's a favorite quote and why?
Okay, this one's very self-serving. It's from me. I know that's horrible. Okay, but in my industry, it's like it's very simple. You want to be the one who wrote the book, not the one who read the book.
Makes sense. Yeah, I like that. And what's third and final question is, what's one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
Oh my gosh. That's brutal. I'm going to give you the one that we were going to put on my dad's gravestone, which
Okay.
was all I ever wanted was a thick steak. Yeah, every time we would sit down for dinner, it was, at a restaurant or whatever, it's like, is it going to be thin or is it going to be thick? All I want is a thick steak. We ended up having a military burial, and so you get the military headstone, and you don't get to put something like that on it. But that was it. I don't know what I want on my gravestone.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have a thick steak on there.
I don't know. I
Never
don't
know.
know, but I guess I better get busy figuring out what I want there.
There you go. I love it. So you run into someone in a coffee shop and they're thinking of writing a book or whatever it is that they got out of this. Maybe they're not, maybe they know someone, whatever it is. What's something we didn't touch on that you think would be really impactful for our listeners?
Yeah, I think that when people talk about books, we and myself too tend to talk about what books will do for your business, what books will do for your organization. What we often forget and don't expect, in fact, it was very unexpected for me, is what a book will do for you internally.
Mm.
Becoming an author puts you in an elite group. You are breathing rare air. And there's a certain amount that, seeing your book on Amazon, being an author, getting it out there, that sense of accomplishment is part of it. But it really can change your internal posture. And that's really what I think is the most unexpected benefit of publishing a book. It's not the thing that people go publish a book for, but it is an organic result that happens.
Makes me want to publish a book. I love it. Very cool. All right, guys, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share this. Like I said, if you want to publish a book or learn more, definitely reach out to Everett. We'll have his information in the show notes. Let's go out there. Let's change the world one starfish or one person at a time. If we can change one life at a time together, we can change the world. Thanks for being on.